Let it load here. Awesome. Okay. So what we are going to be going over today is Universal Design for Learning, also known as UDL. So what is Universal Design for Learning? A quote from CAST in their website is, Universal Design for Learning is a framework to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people based on scientific insights into how humans learn. And Universal Design for Learning is a set of concrete suggestions that can be applied to any lesson to offer all students an opportunity to participate in meaningful and engaging learning. This design for learning is a way to motivate students who have additional support needs, as well as those students who do not have these additional support needs. So it really is just getting all students and helping them find ways to learn. So the three main networks that are in this design are engagement, representation, and action and expression. So engagement is stimulating interests and motivation for learning. So this is coming up with unique ways to get students to want to learn. Representation is presenting information and content in different ways. So this is, different sorts of approaches to the lesson or different tools that they can use. So this is different forms of representation that that these students can use that are good for them. Action and expression is differentiating the ways that students can express what they know. So why is UDL important? Well, it is important that students in the classroom feel welcome and supported. I know for a fact if I didn't feel welcome or supported in a class, I would not want to be there and I would just not pay attention. So teachers must approach every lesson in ways that support a mixed level of knowledge from their students. Not each and every student will know the same thing. For example, if we're doing a lesson on butterflies, some students may have gone to a science center and learned about butterflies, or their parents may have taught them about butterflies, or their daycares, or whatever. They could have some background knowledge on these insects, and some other students may not have any background knowledge on them. Maybe they've only ever seen a butterfly before. They've never learned anything about them or anything like that. So it's really important that teachers come into every lesson knowing that there will be different levels of knowledge on the topic. So when preparing for this, the teacher can approach the lesson in ways that will allow each and every student to be engaged and learn the content. Everyone learns in their own way, and teachers must be prepared to change up the learning environment when necessary. So if I was asked by a colleague to explain the advantages and disadvantages that might come up about this, I would say there aren't a whole lot of disadvantages with this tool. There's a quote from CAST's website, and there's a video on that website called UDL at a Glance. And it says, research show that the way people learn is as unique as their fingerprints. And this is so unbelievably true. I mean, nobody learns the same way. Nobody thinks the same way. Everyone has their own personalities, interests, backgrounds, etc. So UDL provides many science-backed strategies for teachers to get through to their students. And rather than appeasing to only the gifted students and allowing other students to go unnoticed or under the radar, the teacher can prepare a variety of approaches that reach all these students. And they can find a bunch of these strategies on CAST's website or other UDL resources. There's hundreds and hundreds of things out there that we can look at as teachers. Each student has a better opportunity to gain the most knowledge and skills from the content provided when we use Universal Design for Learning. So, some pros and cons to UDL. Let's start with the pros. For accessibility, UDL's sole purpose is to provide accessibility to all students. And this is so, so important in the classroom and in just school society in general. Another pro is participation rates go up. Students feel driven to attend classes where learning is made hassle-free or even fun. It's really important that these students are engaged and want to be there learning. And going on with that, increased learning. Students can augment their learning with the use of solutions that ease knowledge dissemination. And then going on from that, they are better connected to these lessons and the content. Let's see here. UDL is a curriculum reform, provides the most apt solutions needed to meet the learning goals. So this really helps students connect material to the content, to skills, and all of the above. This also really pushes their confidence. Learners with diverse needs and concept grasping abilities find favorable conditions in the class to learn with the help of UDL. And this displays better sustenance of learned concepts. So, it's really hard to be confident in a classroom if you have no idea what's going on. So, using Universal Design for Learning really helps push these students into really knowing what they're talking about. And a couple cons that I did find, and these are debatable, but for cost, this could be both money-wise and time-wise. Yes, this will cost a lot more time for teachers, but in the end, this is exactly the goal that we want from our students. So the cost of time, it's really not that big of a deal when comparing to all of the pros. But moving on, one large disadvantage of this would be if a student changes school location. So the school may not agree with this, or they may not do or may not find the same sort of UDL that they found at one school as they would at another. So this could be really unfortunate for that student. Another con to UDL could be that the school just doesn't agree. So as a teacher, if the school does not agree with this sort of implementation, that can be really unfortunate for you who is trying to do this, because UDL is great. But moving on. How does it work? As we know, each classroom is diverse and needs to be approached in this way. Teachers need to know that their classroom's diverse, their children are diverse, they come from different backgrounds, etc. UDL is an approach to curriculum that helps break down existing barriers in that present classroom. And there's a ton of barriers. There's language barriers, there's culture barriers, background barriers, family barriers, so many different things that we need to start to break down and help these students get past. UDL is a way to keep all students' needs, interests, and talents in mind while also providing unique ways that work for them to learn and comprehend material or content. And there are 7 major principles in this design. There's equitable use, flexibility in use, simple and intuitive, perceptible information, tolerance for error, low physical effort, size and space for approach and use. So with my background here, I found a couple of different books here, and you can kind of read through that. But basically, all in all, Universal Design for Learning is an easy fix to a curriculum. Not only does it provide fantastic strategies that help students learn in their own way, but also provides an even playing field for all students. This provides an opportunity for students who need extra support, whether mentally or physically, to socialize with students their own age, as well as learn in the general classroom from a teacher who is teaching a whole class. Here's a quote from one of the books that I found from Edward Steinfeld. Universal design supports people in being more self-reliant and socially engaged. It does not substitute for assistive technology, but it makes technology easier to use by providing appropriate support. And building from that quote, UDL makes learning in general easier because there is ample support as well as backup support systems, as long as the teacher is well supported by other coworkers, as well as having a good background in the knowledge. The teacher must be prepared to use these backup supports if necessary, especially if there's a student that is not getting it. You need to come and kind of step back and look at a different perspective. UDL does not only provide opportunities to help each student learn, but also provides an opportunity for students to learn how to take ownership of their own education and advocate for themselves as well as fellow students. This can only happen if UDL is implemented effectively and correctly. Here's another quote from Whitney H. Rapp. Experiencing multiple means of engagement, input, output, and assessment, and having the opportunity to reflect on those experiences affords students the knowledge and skills to be self-reliant, lifelong learners. And I believe it is incredibly important to provide opportunities for all students to obtain the most educational and social skills as possible. So how does this align with UDL? Well, the topic I chose is UDL. There are many ways to integrate UDL in the classroom, and there's lots of different places, resources that you can go and look those up. A really great one is CAST. By following the guidelines and preparing each lesson with UDL in thought will help your students tremendously. Here's a quote from CAST themselves. The UDL guidelines are a tool used in the implementation of universal design for learning. These guidelines offer a set of concrete suggestions that can be applied to any discipline or domain to ensure that all learners can access and participate in meaningful, challenging learning opportunities. So, more specifically, how could this tool or topic be used to the development of a learning environment? UDL gives teachers a way to create or help students create their own unique ways to learn and retain content. And by helping students produce unique tools and ways to learn content, we are also helping them learn how to be self-reliant in their own learning and to be able to advocate for their own education. This is super important, especially as they go on in school. We do not just want students to learn the content, but also learn social skills as well. And UDL gives the opportunity to provide both to our students, and it really does help teachers with knowing their students and knowing their backgrounds and everything that they need. Thank you for watching and listening. I appreciate it.